Windy City Women. Windy City Women. Windy City Women. Two comedians. Windy City Women. Talking about some stuff.
Well, are you ready to do this thing?
I am ready.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do this thing. Windy City Women is two Chicago comedians bringing you comedy and entertainment while discussing what's going on in our windy city of Chicago, Illinois. I'm Amanda Costner.
And I'm Kells the Komic.
We are Windy City Women. How you been doing, Kells?
Awesome. Oh, I meant to purposely not tell you this until we were recording. I love our theme song.
I'm glad you don't hate it. I made that on my iPhone because none of my equipment's working right now, so it's super ratchet.
When I was watching the last episode, I kept rewinding it.
You are gonna love what I do on this episode because let me just say, maybe just put a little extra oomph behind your Lori story segment because I have a new intro song for that.
I'm excited. About this.
Okay. I'm glad you like it. Well, I am doing okay. Had a bad news last week, but I am so stoked to do the podcast. I started to look forward to recording this with you every week.
Yay! I'm excited. I didn't want to be like, are you gonna record? Are you gonna record? I was like,
no, I was like, absolutely, yes, totally. So, okay, are you ready to talk about what's going on in our world?
I am. I think this is a juicy segment of what's going on this time, huh?
I think we got some eyebrow-raising worthy stuff. Let's open it up with, okay, y'all don't even know, listeners. As soon as this hit news segments, Kells is on her phone texting me we have to talk about Jada Pinket Smith and August Alsina affair. Oh my God, we have to talk about this, which is so, of course we have to talk about it.
Okay, but so for those who don't know what's going on, this is the juiciest piece of meat ever. And by juiciest piece of meat, I mean August Alsina himself.
Okay, it's Alsina. I was wondering about his last name.
Yes.
So amazing first
Will
name.
Smith, right?
Okay, sorry. Anybody with the first name August, he's either going to be really beautiful and probably also an amazing artist, and he probably he probably does pretty good when he goes downtown.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And so now you have Will Smith, and then you have Jada Pinkett, and they have this weird long marriage. And then here comes August Alsina. He's young. Jada Pinket Smith, she's all, I want to feel good. And he's like, I can do that for you because my name is August. And they had an entanglement.
But do you think he said that, or do you think he actually either poetried it or sang I think I can do that for you because my name is August?
Well, first of all, he definitely poetried it. If you go on his Instagram, he has a birthday post to her where he literally wrote a poem and rhymed in it and literally poured his heart out for this 90-year-old.
Wait, recently?
It was, I think it was maybe last year or the year before or something like that. But I went and I saw it and it was amazing.
Is he a good poet? Is it good stuff?
Let me tell you something. Before this, I was not necessarily an August Alsina fan. I don't listen to music until 20 years after it comes out. So I'm just now getting into the 2000s.
Kells is at home rocking some Nelly.
Yes, it's hot in here. Exactly. So I wasn't really his fan, but after those pictures came out of him, I definitely looked him up. He's got a baby leg, I
How
heard.
old is he? Oh my God, you did
Um,
not. You did not just say he has a baby leg. Oh my God. I can't believe I even know that reference. I'm a Gold Star lesbian. I can't believe I even know that reference.
Gold Star.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what the picture showed. That's it. But as far as like his talent, I don't know. I don't know about any musical talent, but I know he has torn up the Smiths household.
So would you take August over Will Smith?
Um,
Cause like I love,
what?
maybe it's just because I'm white, but I fucking love Will Smith.
So here's the thing. Before we knew what was going on, okay, to answer your first question, I'm gonna take Will Smith because he has more money and he's established more. But according to the pictures, if you were looking for something a little less surface, then you would go with August Alsina.
I mean, Jada doesn't need Will's money. She has her own money.
She doesn't need it, but like the whole Will and Jada thing is like a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Not for me though. Like everybody knows they have an open relationship. I don't mean to like whatever
So
open
they
relationships.
tried to. Well, they tried to take that. They said that they don't have an open relationship. They have a life partnership, and that's different. Yeah.
So do you buy that, Kels?
I think that right now, Will Smith is trying to figure out exactly who he can fuck while skydiving and even this shit out with Jada.
Dude,
Like,
have you
I don't
ever
even
seen
think they're.
Dude, have you ever seen the trailer for his YouTube channel?
Yes.
I was looking at our YouTube channel and I was trying to get ideas for trailers, and my YouTube needs one too. And Will Smith, listeners and viewers, if you don't know, you need to go to Will Smith's YouTube right now. His trailer is like exactly what Kel said. It's like him jumping off of a damn spacecraft while he's like swinging a golf club, skydiving into the ocean, hitting volcano cores, and then at the end of it, he's like, subscribe to my YouTube.
I'm Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like,
golf club and a lighter. The definition of creativity. There's so much stuff I wanted to say.
it's very, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna tag her back honest to God, in real life, I think this is the shit that probably happens into every relationship. But it was juicy because August Alsina cried about it, and then they tried to deny it, and then they said, "Oops, JK, we meant it. We really did have a relationship / entanglement." So, but I'm Team
I mean,
Will
if they're
Smith.
okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Same. I'm Team Will Smith. You know, if you guys are gonna stay married with your 2 weird kids, go for it. Go for it.
All right. This is another thing that you wanted to talk about. Oh, and before we move on to this, actually, I do think it's kind of funny. We didn't mention this, but aren't Will Smith and Jada Scientologists?
Are they?
I think they are. And our topic tonight is we're talking about, we're speaking with somebody who, her story is that she says she escaped from a cult, and we're going to learn more about it. And that's just kind of interesting that that's our first topic of the night.
Speaking of cults, for those of you who are in my specific cult, which is the Kanye can do no wrong cult, and that's cult spelled with a K, okay? Kanye is running for president, and I feel like this is what we all have been waiting for. Can I hear the cheering in the background? Woo, woo, woo.
Kells, why have you been waiting for this? You don't even vote.
That's why. Because it was like, if ever I was about to do it, do you think this is not what it's literally 2 options. I don't vote or I vote for Kanye. So
are you going to vote for Kanye?
In my dream world, yes. Yes, I would. But in real life, voting for Kanye is still just adding to this whole systematic issue of splitting the vote and blah, 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 blah. So I probably won't. But do I want to? Am I going to wear a vote for Kanye shirt? Am I going to be at the polls rooting for him? Yes. Yes, I am.
Can I tell you what I think?
No,
You're-
I don't want to hear it.
Next. Ding ding. I'm going to say it anyways. Okay. This is a publicity stunt. Kanye West is old as fuck now. He's in his 40s. He does gospel music. He doesn't even do mainstream stuff. We know he has an ego. He said early in his career, he admitted it to us that he has an ego. And I don't think just because you come in touch with your religious Jesus-y side that you lose that desire to be famous. I think he wants to stay relevant.
I'm going to kill everything you said. One, greatness doesn't get old. Boom. 2, he's always
Tell that to
done
ZZ Top.
gospel music. that was a low blow.
Okay.
2, he's always done gospel music. Please see Jesus Walks. 3, having an ego does not mean anything about being I think you have to have an ego to be a good president. Like, Barack Obama walking all smooth does not mean he didn't have an ego. It just meant, like, his ego was a little bit different. Like, he definitely has swag.
You're comparing Kanye to Barack Obama?
No, I'm saying that. Actually, though, do we think that Kanye could be somewhere as close as effective to what Barack Obama was? Because also keep in mind, Barack Obama didn't do shit for Black people. So, do we think Kanye West could be as effective as Barack Obama?
I feel like you're somebody who appreciates rumors. Maybe this is a false assumption. The rumors are that literally, or this is just people trying to make money, that like his family literally thinks this is a bipolar episode.
So, he supposedly has chosen Joel Osteen to be his running mate. And
as a preacher's kid, that really excites me.
Do I think that this is a bipolar episode? Answer: who cares?
Most of America would care about that. Although we didn't care that Reagan was going senile.
We don't care about. So supposedly, Biden has dementia. Like, this is my thing. Like, it's something wrong with all these motherfuckers. What was the other guy with the no arms?
That's just what Trump says.
Well, also, I'm pretty sure if they let Trump say it, you can probably find some space cadet moment of Biden like, what? I got dementia. Who knows? But we don't give a fuck about presidents. What was the guy? You know the guy I'm talking about, the vet with the arms.
What is this? Did we have a robot for president and I fell asleep and missed it? What is this?
Who ran against
Y'all, Kells has legit been doing the robot arms for 5 minutes going, you know, this guy, the president, doing robot.
No, he ran for the Republican. The vet, he was a POW. You know
George
who
Bush?
I'm talking about. No, not George Bush. He ran after him. Why can't I remember his name? He can barely move his arm.
Our listeners don't need to listen to us say shit. We are not politically minded. We're like, who was the president? The guy.
Yeah, don't listen to us for your political views. This is what you're doing, okay? This is not here.
Oh my God.
I'm going to remember this guy's name, and the next episode, you guys are going to be like, this was an accurate depiction of him.
I'll trust you on that. Okay, moving on to more serious news than President of the United States, because apparently that's a joke. Naya Rivera, who, listeners, if you don't know, she was Santana from the TV show Glee, as in, ba, 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 ba. That's my best Glee impression. Sorry for saying something funny at the beginning of this, because tragic news, she was missing for days, and now her body was found at Lake Peru.
Crazy. That's nuts. And did you hear like that? She was supposedly swimming with her son, and then they asked the son, and he was like, "Oh, she went swimming, and then I just don't know what happened." That is sad.
Yep.
That's just sad. That's it.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter there was a photo. I don't know if this is all like. I don't think so though. I mostly think this is cool. There was like all her castmates were at the lake, like holding hands with some people in her family. So some of the casts I know there was a lot of drama with the lead girl and then the lead dude OD'd, but I guess some of them were, they're doing okay.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that show has had a lot of drama. Actually, that show has had a ton of drama. Corey Monteith, the one of the lead guys, he OD'd on the same anniversary that they found her body, July 13th. That's today.
Okay.
We're recording
Wow.
this on the 13th. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
wild. That's ridiculous. This is the show about the singing and the kids in high school, right?
Yep.
Yikes. Okay.
This is
All
the
right.
show I discovered Jane Lynch on. Side note, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but this is the show I discovered my love for Jane Lynch.
This is crazy. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
weird.
I guess everybody just needs to be careful.
I think something about adults playing high schoolers make you do drugs. Have you not seen that connection or that correlation?
Oh, I have. Like, Drew Barrymore is the only one that has survived it. And she ain't all there, you know.
Exactly. She's still Drew Barrymore at the end of the day, so.
Exactly. You know, I am kind of obsessed with like freak accident things. Like, I went on Reddit one time and just went down a rabbit hole of like this German family that died in the desert one time because they thought they could make it on their own and they couldn't, and all these other freak accidents. So my girlfriend will tell you, even if we like go to the dog park 2 blocks away, I'm like, all right, babe, these are the signs that we are in an emergency disaster situation and we need to take stock of our supplies and send up the alert flares.
In my mind, I see you like now all the time with like a little knapsack that you keep like a flashlight and like a bottle of water and some type of like nasty space food, and you carry this like just to go to the store. That is who you are in my mind now.
Well, I do often wear a fanny pack, so.
Well, there we go. See, I'm pretty on brand.
One more thing I wanted to talk to you about is the Washington Redskins. They changed their name. And this is after their owner said 10 years ago, famously, he would never change it. Never.
Yes, I think that's big. And I wanted to ask you, why do you think that happened now?
Because money. It's all about money. The NFL store, I don't know what its official name is, but what I heard from the news, NPR, which like NPR is pretty reliable, is that a lot of the stores stopped selling the Washington Redskins stuff, like their t-shirts and their shorts and stuff. And then suddenly, and then also their sponsors like FedEx, I heard on the news, specifically asked them, FedEx is a huge sponsor of their stadium, specifically was like, can you change this, please? So money. And then if you want to get deeper, the question is, why did these sponsors? I think public opinion changed. I think finally people were like, you know.
Hey, this is still grossly racist.
It's bastardizing.
Do something about it. Yeah.
I think, yeah. I agree.
Well, good for them. I'm glad, it's like if by any means necessary, as long as there's a change, who cares why there's the change,
I agree.
I don't know if I'm gonna go out and buy a bunch of Redskin stuff though. Or
oh hell no.
Like that team,
Dallas Cowboys fan for life, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't like to win. It's okay.
I know, I love to be a loser. Okay, let's get to my favorite segment of the hour.
Stories. The epitome of like stories. Black people working for white bosses. Like she just wants to do good, but then it's also like stories.
It's time for Lori Stories.
Lori Stories.
Where we talk about our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, Chicago's mayor, that is.
And this is like no surprise. I don't even think this is news. Guess what? She's threatening to shut shit down.
Yep.
Like, that's what she does. She's saying, hey, if I catch you motherfuckers out here keep no masking it up. I'm shutting these bars and shit right back down. And I don't know. How do you feel about that, Amanda?
I think she's just trying her best. Like, I was talking to my girlfriend about this actually this morning. She has listened to our podcast, and she doesn't think I defend Lori Lightfoot enough.
Really?
Now, I think she's biased, to be honest.
Okay.
I think if Lori Lightfoot's not a lesbian, my girlfriend's a little less likely to defend her. Like,
okay.
But I do agree with what she was saying is like, and also though this speaks to my partner, she like sees the best in everybody. She's like, I really think she's trying to do what's best for the city. And I was like, okay, I guess I agree with that. And I think that I do feel like it doesn't help her for our economy to like go in even more into the shitter. I think she legit wants to make sure we don't turn into Italy where we're giving people scores and, you know, if you have a good score, you get a ventilator. You know, I think she's trying to keep us from that happening to that.
All right. So I think that on the flip side, and this maybe is not good or bad, I think because she is a Black lesbian, like you are a Black woman who likes women. Like I just want her to be like this. Dun, 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 like at all times and be like doing this great amazingness and like she just wears bad suits and then after she wears the bad suits I feel like she and on in her defense she's in the position where like of course she has to yell at us but it's like you haven't been doing anything but this for like months. And I get it. You tried to like jazz it up with your little YouTube or your little Instagram posts and your TikTok sketches and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know. Because also, I don't necessarily want to go to any bars or anything like that. I understand it. I'm definitely an advocate for wearing your mask. But I don't know.
Y'all, Kells has worn her mask like basically every episode we've recorded so far, right?
Yeah, because the thing about it is, I don't know how closely people are going to get to this camera. So I don't want to catch shit, and I don't want you guys to catch shit. So there we go. Like, and that's the attitude I feel like Lori wants everybody to have. Like, hey, you guys can catch this shit. But Chicago just wants to get naked and kiss in the mouth. Like, that's just all they want to do. And just stick Corona in their eyeballs. And I don't know what I want her to do, but I want her to do it better dressed. Yeah. I want to start. And I feel bad because no matter what she does to her hair, I hate it. When she wears makeup, I hate it. When she doesn't wear makeup, I don't know. I don't mind her not wearing makeup. I don't think she has to wear makeup. I just think she has to make up her mind and wear better clothes.
Maybe, you know what, we will in an effort both to explore this topic further and maybe possibly gain some listeners, we'll have to do a large GoFundMe to buy her some tailored suits.
It's not the GoFundMe because I don't think it's like she can't afford it. It's like, I think she's scared of style. Maybe she's like has style phobia or something. Like, oh no, it fits. We need to like have like a Ayala fix her life moment. Like, what's going on with you?
She's representing lesbians without style. And I can't relate. I couldn't relate any less, Kells.
No, this is what I don't. But name 5 lesbians you know that don't have style. That's it. You can't do it. You can't do it. So I don't know why she's walking around here with her big K&G outfits on. I'm offended and I'm not a lesbian is what I'm saying.
Okay, touche. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited to talk to our guest for today.
I'm excited and I'm anxious and I'm scared and I'm like, oh my God, because I feel like she's gonna like blow my mind out the side of my head and everybody's gonna see it on YouTube.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your like mind go out the side. Our guest is here today to talk about her experience in the Moorish Science Temple and what prompted her to classify it as a cult and ultimately decide to get out. The first Moorish science temple was founded in 1913 by Noble Drew Ali, who believed that Islam was the religion of African Americans before they were enslaved. People who identify as Moors are asked to change their last names, to adhere by a strict moral code forbidding intoxicants, tobacco, hair straighteners, cosmetics, meat, eggs, all kinds of things. And here to discuss these things along with other stuff with us and how it affected her life, please welcome Miss Liz to the show.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming on here and talking about this with us.
Oh, no problem at all. It was kind of at first, but I feel like it definitely needs to be discussed. Yeah, so I appreciate the invite for sure.
To me, all I thought that the Moors was like where you went to be like super black and tax exempt. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, Liz.
Okay, first of all, let me just set the precedent just a little bit about the Moorish Science Temple of America. On a positive note, I learned a whole lot when I was a active member. Actually, I was paying dues. And I was also very involved in the acts or the programs and stuff that they offered as far as the community. Being a Moor, from what I thought it was no longer identifying with terms that alluded to slavery, such as Black, Negro, Color, African American, Ethiopian. You know, those were terms that alluded to slavery. And I was really intrigued by that because they don't consider themselves Black, which was like very interesting, you know, to me.
So when you say that, you mean just for our listeners,
the more I'm
like
into it,
Oh, sorry about that, Liz. I was just going to clarify for our listeners that you mean like people in the Moors community, they do not call themselves Black or African American or anything like that.
No, because according to being a Moor, you no longer identify with a term that alludes to slavery, which would be Black. So, and that's the science that they teach. You know, according to the law, being Black is considered 3/5 of a human. And being Black is it's a color. It holds no stance in the judicial system, you know, and that aspect of it was very intriguing to me.
Liz, sorry, not to cut you off. I just had two questions. One, could you clarify again how long you were a part of that community? And I heard you say that that was something that intrigued you. Did you find this on your own, or was this something that you were brought to?
I was a part of the community for about 4 years, maybe 3.5, 4 years. My cousin actually introduced me to it.
Okay.
And she was a very, very, very active member. Again, there you pay dues. And it wasn't supposed to be a cult. From my perspective, it wasn't supposed to be a cult. And I'll get to that point later. So my cousin introduced me to the Moors, which again was very intriguing, very beautiful experience until it got to the meeting part. And there they have meetings.
Is that like what we would think of as church, like every Sunday, or is this like something way different than church?
The meetings are very private meetings.
Okay.
And they have and I mean you can compare it to church, so from a perspective. and you there's a specific dress code.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that you can't do. You can't talk. You can't. You just have to listen and sit down and listen. And at first, I was like, okay, this is different.
Mm-hmm.
This is really different. And so I kind of got, I don't want to say I got tricked, but I honestly, on the deeper side of things, I kind of feel like I was kind of like under some sort of like trance or something like that. Because that whole experience was very detrimental to my mentals overall. But anyway, so the meetings where you pay dues, they were meetings in the building. And then when I would first walk into the building, there would be cameras outside the door. Now that's normal, but it didn't make sense for them to have cameras on this door in this building that looks abandoned on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like an abandoned building. But I was okay with going because it felt like I was under a trance.
So I'm trying to understand what this is. Is it like a religion? What did you think it was?
It's the cult. It's called the occult teaching.
So they actually classify themselves as a cult.
They teach that it's an occult. So
Okay.
you know how you have Jehovah's Witnesses, and you have it's basically like a school of thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go through this training and you go through this preparation so your mind can warp into this particular mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But
it sounds very similar to Scientology based on what you're saying.
Yeah, it is definitely the same. It's basically the same thing, but you're so tied into the esoteric aspect of it that you not paying attention to what's going on around you. And so it will be times to where I would pull up to the meetings and there would be like police officers sitting outside, and I'm just like, I'm not stupid, why are these police officers sitting outside? And why do we have these private meetings in this room, with the door closed?
Why were the officers outside? I'm curious.
They were watching. They were watching because it was operating from a cult. It was like a cult. It was like, and the building was abandoned. And this is not just this building. This is how a lot of them operate. I know it's a lot to talk about. My apologies.
No, this is. We appreciate you being so forthcoming. I know you said that there was a specific dress code. Are you able to talk about the dress code?
Yes. So the dress code is skirts to your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so no lesbians in the cult. I take it.
No, they do not. They do not allow homosexual activity at all. It is not permitted. It is banned.
I can't join the cult. I guess I'm out.
Sam and Amanda. I can't join it because I don't like skirts like that. Come on.
And it is mandatory that you wear a turban.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a pen in the middle of your head that says Moorish American,
As far as the meetings go, about how long were the meetings that they usually run?
The meetings lasted for about, I would say, maybe an hour.
Okay.
maybe an hour to an hour and a half. That's about it.
Okay.
Interesting, if I could say. Very interesting meeting.
And so was the purpose of the meetings basically, because I know we're trying to equate them to church, so I know you go to church basically to kind of like get a message and feel better. So like, was the purpose of this meeting like for informational purposes? I know you said you paid dues, so you're definitely donating. Like, what was the general feel of the messages? I know you can't say like exactly what was going on.
Okay, so it was very traditional. We would start off with the prayer, and they would go into just the same speech every meeting, almost like a I don't want to say casting a spell, kind of like, but it was just like repetitive every meeting, you know. And
like some Harry Potter shit.
Yeah, and so the meetings were teaching the religious part of the whole movement. So the meetings would teach out of the Quran, and afterwards it would be we would end with the prayer, and then they would collect dues.
Was there music?
It was no music, no singing, no music, nothing, no noise, just silence.
What if a baby cries? Are there no babies?
It's rare. You rarely see babies. Sometimes they might have babies in the meetings, yeah, because you might have families that are involved. But no, you don't hear babies crying, nothing. Just the person who is leading the meeting talking.
So what's the, I guess, I don't know if I want to say purpose, but like, so I'm a Moor. Okay, let's say I'm a Moor. What am I supposed to be doing? I know if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be spreading the good word. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're supposed to be knocking on people's doors. Like, as a Moor, how am I supposed to be living to be the best Moor I could be?
Well, okay, so being a Moor is something that's a birthright. You don't have to go into a facility. You don't have to go into a building to be a Moor. That is something that is yours. You were born that. But a church can be a cult. You know what I'm saying? A Jehovah's Witness hall can be a cult. It is. They're all cults. I just spoke specifically on the Moorish Temple of America and the way that it's operated as a cult, and how I knew after the 6 months that I was in the temple. Now, I've been studying it for about 3.5 years, but I was actually in the temple for about six months, and I realized, like, yo, this is a cult. And it was so weird because everybody around me. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. What I was saying. So you said you were there for 6 months, so I guess I want to ask maybe like a 3-part question. In the 6 months, when did you start feeling like it was a cult? What things made you feel like it was a cult? And what was it that ultimately made you decide, like, okay, I have to leave?
When when it started to get kind of eerie a little bit, I started to, this is my time to share this story, because I have not shared this story because I was like, oh, people are gonna think I'm nuts. People are gonna think I'm crazy, but no. So I was going to a specific temple, and they were like playing these mind games, and I was kind of like catching on to it, and I would speak up on it, and they didn't particularly like that. So one day I had a really bad nervous breakdown, being a part of this particular group. And I didn't sleep for 4 days. My mom was praying for me. It was really, really bad and she was saying like, oh my God, I think you just joined a cult. Like everybody around me was like, my dad was like, that's a cult. You need to get out of there. Like it was just really bad. And so, and when you study sorry, this is on subject, but when you study the occult sciences, they put you under it's a mind control. And so when you wake up to it, or you like your five senses start activating, like, you know, it's like you coming from up under a trance or something like that. And so I kind of like lost it a little bit. And so my mom was like, you need to handle that. You need to cut ties with these people. Any residue that you have with these people, you need to cut ties, because you waking up from it, you recognizing that it's a trance. The leader of the cult, they were prank calling my phone. It was bad.
This is
It was
after
bad. Like
you
they were spreading
left.
rumors about me. This is after I left. They were spreading rumors about me. I was getting calls from people from other temples asking me personal questions, like, how did you even know that? You know, and this is how I knew that I had gotten myself into something that was not the being a Moor, not that part, but the evil part that is with everything. It's evil, and being a part of a group of people who practice the dark arts. So
So are you saying that there's like the larger group of the Moorish scientific temple, like they're not all a cult, but there's just like a portion of it that practice like dark magic?
Yes. There's a portion. The portion that I was in was the cult. That was a cult. Not the entire Moorish Science Temple of America is not necessarily a cult, but it is a religious practice. It is a very serious and deep religious practice.
What is the difference between Moors and Islam?
Okay, so Moor or Moorish is, when you're Moorish, you are a descendant of African born in America. So you're a Moorish American. A Moor is something that is supposed to be on every Black person's ID. Okay, we're not supposed to have Black, and quite as it's kept, you're not supposed to have white on there either, because nobody can be white and nobody can be Black. That's a color. You know, everybody has a nationality. Everybody has a land mass or continent that they originated from. Everybody does. So to call yourself Black or white is not honoring your ancestors.
It sounds like there's a lot of stuff you kept from, even though you had this like negative experience. Like I honestly can't imagine realizing I was a part of some group that did black magic or dark magic. Like, but it also sounds like you took a lot of positive things.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say in that disclaimer in the beginning. I did take a lot of positive things, because I was telling Michelle, like, I think I could catch a lot of heat from this. I'm gonna catch a lot of heat from this. But from the occultic aspect of it, yes, it is a cult. It is very enticing to your five senses. A lot of people are stuck because they can't really see that they are practicing dark science or the dark arts, and they're under a complete trance.
Um,
I'm sorry.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Just for people who don't, when you say like dark arts and dark science and dark math, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, are you
Okay,
like?
so oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I'm
No.
excited. Anyway. um, well, in witchcraft, which is welcomed in the Moorish Science Temple of America, the witchcraft is welcomed. They practice spells. They practice rituals. They do a lot of chanting, which is, I get it, they do a lot of that stuff. And coming from a person who sometimes you can just have natural magic. Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes we all just feel like that stuff is just extra, it's just to add on to what's already inside. And as to how I already would tell them all of that, when I was apart. But dark arts is oh wow, this conversation is gonna get really deep. The Baphomets and the just different gods and statues and worshiping statues and that's practice in dark art.
And that's what they were doing.
Yeah, like sex gods and shit, like it. And
what's the difference between like what they're doing, what's going on in as far as the dark arts and a Moorish science temple, and like Hinduism, where they also are like worshiping statues and stuff?
Well, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, they honor all prophets, which in my perspective, it can be extremely confusing because they say they honor all 5 prophets: Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Confucius, and the last prophet, which they say is the last prophet, which would be Prophet Noble Drew Ali or Timothy Drew Ali. Great man, by the way. It's just that there are some things, if research is wonderful. But anyway, they honor all of those prophets, but that can be extremely confusing for a lot of people who are joining, because they had Buddhists that were joining the Moorish Science Temple of America, and they were forced to stop practicing Buddhism to practice this new this religion called Islam. Now, Islam means peace. That's all it means. It means peace. But by conjoining each prophet, or what people think is just a prophet, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, all of these people practice peace. So they're like, okay, well, let's join all of these together, and but that's not how it works. And that's why it can cause confusion in the minds of the people who actually, you know what I'm saying, like they really want to change in their life, and they want to experience something new, or they want to try get in a program, or get in a setting with a whole bunch of people who are all striving for the same cause. This can be very confusing. So a person who practice Hinduism and they worship a statue, it teaches in more science that they're worshiping the dark arts. I mean, that's what they teach, because it has there's nobody in there. It's an empty cart. So I mean, I don't speak against anybody's religion. And again, being a part of Moorish Science Temple of America, I learned a lot about Hinduism. I learned a lot about Buddhism. I learned a lot about Christianity.
be honest with you,
But
Liz.
I didn't.
I can see why it might be hard for anyone to
Yep.
realize they're in a cult, because it's like hard to actually get a grasp on what this is, what it isn't, the parts that are good, the parts that are, like, it seems so kind of intertangled with various things.
It's confusing. That's why I even confuse myself talking about it sometimes, because I'm like, what was I a part of? And so when I would try to get people to like join and stuff, they would think that I was crazy, like crazy, like almost to a point where they'd be like, "Oh, you need medication." To this day, like my grandma, she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you got out of that cult." She says that. And so
what
yeah.
behaviors were you exhibiting that made them feel like you were in a cult? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay, so I didn't sleep for 4 days.
Why did you do that?
So we're gonna find out it's a meth cult.
Oh.
A meth cult. No, seriously. I didn't sleep for 4 days. I didn't sleep for 4 days. Because I was extremely delusional. I was experiencing some things. I was seeing things. I was hearing things. I told you that the guy, he was playing tricks and stuff on my phone. He was like prank calling. I don't even know if it was him, but somebody was prank calling me. And another lady that was a part, she was also playing on my phone. And I think it was a situation to where it was a shirt. It was a shirt with our names on it, because they also have a sister auxiliary type deal, to where all those sisters and women, they get together, and we were starting a sisters auxiliary. And
I'm sorry,
there
what's
was
an auxiliary? What's a?
It was like a semi sorority.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a semi sorority, but it was like the More Science to Beloved America Sisters Auxiliary, So, also, not to mention, a lot of Moors are Masons, so that could probably tie into.
I was gonna ask you about that.
A lot of Moors are Masons. As a matter of fact, 85% of them are Masons in Eastern Stars.
Is it a lot of Masonic practices that cross over from one to the other, you think? Or are you aware of?
Yes. The only difference between Moorish science and the Masonic temple is they keep secrets. The Masons keep secrets. The Moors don't. That's the only difference. And the secret, it's not even really a secret. It's just like, why? But they have structure.
What's the secret, girl? Do you know the secret? Because I don't know the secret. What's the secret?
The secret, they say that this is not the secret. But if you've ever been into a Masonic temple, you see fezzes. The Shriner fezzes that the Shriners wear. They have the fez in a glass box, and they try to say that the Moors is not the secret. That's the secret.
Oh.
I'm confused as hell.
They deny it. That's what I'm saying. It confuses people, because it's a whole bunch of people thinking that they know what they're doing and know what they're talking about, and it's not. You guys it's a combat. And so, and Masons take oaths. The president, all of even to even become the president of the United States, you have to be some sort of high degree Mason. Barack Obama's a 33rd degree Mason. So, and even Donald Trump, he's a Mason. This is the type of stuff that they don't they don't. It's there for us to research, but we don't. They're not gonna say it out loud. But there's a specific type of degree of knowledge that you have to have in order to get people in a mind control formation type deal. You know, yeah, it's deep.
Liz, when I Googled
it's
this,
really, really
Liz, when I Googled this, one of the first things that came up, and this is like half the articles at least, is discussing sovereign citizenship. And I didn't understand if this was something that everybody that's a part of the Moorish temple believes, or if this is just like some people. But I guess some people who have made the news believes that, like, they'll, if they get pulled over by the cops, they'll be like, I don't need to follow these laws. I'm a sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
See, that is a bunch of hogwash, because as certain laws are bogus, agreed. But you don't see, it's a lot of Moors that have messed it up for people who are really law studiers. You know what I'm saying? People who really know what these laws and these codes obtain and the power they obtain as sovereign citizens or as Aboriginal, citizens. So what they do is they go into courts, they go into these courtrooms, and they contest or they combat these particular codes and these laws for no reason. And they end up messing it up for all the rest of the Moors. Now, there is this whole conflict about people getting pulled over and them using a license to drive or being tax exempt. Yeah, we're privy to those things, but there's definitely a way to go about it, and it's the Moorish Science Temple of America for the past century almost. They have completely ruined it for the entire quote unquote black race. Completely ruined it because of greed, because of practicing of the dark arts, because of power and control, because people don't want to get it together, because people are lying, stealing people's money, all types of stuff, running it just like a government.
Kells, I want to make sure we've got probably only about 5 minutes left on this, so to make sure you get any last questions you had for Liz.
So what was it? Talking away.
No, I'm loving this. Thank you so much I feel like we're really getting an inside perspective.
Yeah, sure.
What was the last straw for you? When were you just like, I can't do this anymore?
The last straw for me is when I joined another temple. I joined another temple, and I just didn't like the vibe. Now, maybe I already had it pre-conditioned in my mind, like, I'm done with this. But I just didn't like the vibe. The people were just weird. And I was just like, I can't do this. Plus, it was just a lot of bad stuff happening to me, at that time. And I'm like, this is because of what I'm doing. I think I need to just stop doing this. And I lost everything. I lost my relationship. I lost my car. I lost a lot of stuff. And I said, me being a spiritual person that I am, I knew that had something to do with it. I knew it. I knew that had something to do with it. So ultimately, I just took what I learned about being Black and not being Black, and how nobody can be a color in a crayon box. And I took those teachings and all of the stuff about law, which is great, and I just left it alone. All of the spiritual stuff, I left that alone. And as soon as I left that stuff alone, everything started picking up again.
Mm.
So yeah,
Does
and
it,
that to
Liz?
me, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Liz.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask.
No. I was done talking. I'm sorry.
Does it mean anything different to you now when you hear somebody say, like, joke around and say the phrase, don't drink the Kool-Aid or stuff like that?
As meaning like what? Like as far as the Moors or
No, like when people talk about cold.
That phrase comes
No.
from the Jim Jones cult, how they all like killed themselves drinking that Kool-Aid.
No, I don't get it. I try not to talk. This is my first time talking about this since I stopped messing with them. I talk briefly or vaguely about it, but I never opened up to like the general public about this. Never. So this is like a milestone for me.
Well,
and
thank
this
you
ain't
so
even
much for coming
You're
on
welcome.
here. Thanks for choosing this show, Windy City Women, to come on and talk about it. We really appreciate you doing that.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no problem. Thank you. Even but no, seriously, if you was in a church, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of the same concept. You take what you need out of church. People don't get it. You're not in church for church. You're in church for Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, take Jesus and get out of there. Like that's what I got. Take not being black and get out the more signs of America. Like that's what and that's just me being a traveler like that. I go places, learn things, chew the meat and spit the bone out. So that was my. Even with Buddhists, take Buddha, take the teachers, the peace, the love, get up out of the religious part, so.
Well, since we didn't get kicked off right away here, and now that I say that, we'll probably get kicked off, but I am, after all we talked about, I do have one, like, after everything you've said, after everything we've discussed, how does somebody out there know, like, if somebody did start going maybe to a local more temple, like, how would they know if they are like a part of the like cult group that you were a part of that ended up being a negative drain on your life, or if they're a part of something more positive that they're okay? Is that just something they have to reflect on their own?
I would say so, because it took, even though it took me 6 months to realize that my spirit was being bent and my spirit was being manipulated. You definitely have to be aware on your own. From the religious part, anytime you go anywhere and there's a dress code to where the women have to wear pantyhose, closed-toe shoes, skirts to your ankles, and turtlenecks with turbans, that's the first sign. That's very religious. You know what I'm saying? You have beautiful hair as a woman. I have beautiful hair. I'm not tying my hair up. And so that was, and I'm a rebel. I'm radical like that anyway. I'm just a radical person like that. But it is very religious. And that's honestly, that is not just the Moorish Science of America. That's any type of setting like that. But from on the more positive side, I came to do community service. That was my whole initial point and motives to come into the Moorish Science of America. I'm like, okay, we getting out here, we're gonna set up tables, we're gonna have pamphlets, we're gonna be explaining to people about their birthrights and their nationality. We're gonna be teaching them that they're not black, Negro, colored, African American, because all of these terms are terms that allude to slavery, and we are not Negroes, we ain't slaves no more. I'm thinking we're gonna get out here, we're gonna do this. No, you guys wanna have meetings in a temple? Like, no, there are people out here dying. There are people out here dying because they are calling themselves black. You know what I'm saying? There are people out here dying because the cops, they don't care about no black person killing a black person. Because you don't even have stature or legal grounds in the court, in the law. So that was the more important part to me. that is why ultimately I left. And again, on the more positive note, if they are not doing any community service, if you do not see them doing footwork, at least the Jehovah's Witnesses get on our nerves every day. You know what I'm saying? At least they at the door, you know. But do some. That's the positive part. What are we doing? What are they doing for the community? What are they giving towards the community besides a barbecue? Or no, this needs to be put it in simpler terms. You know, let people understand, the children understand, and stuff like that.
I like that. That's like a very, if you have one rule, it could be like, is this group or whatever you want to call it helping the community?
Yeah, like are you guys helping the community instead of taking from the community? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to take from the community, but they didn't want to give back. Like, we got to give something. I would make suggestions like, hey guys, let's talk to the alderman and let's shut the whole block down, or so we can clean the streets up for free. We're not charging nothing. We're going to do it for free. And they were totally against that. Let's set up a clothes drive. Let's set up this whole block, tables all down the block. Let's ask people donate clothes. Let's sell clothes. Because everybody, and then they wanted to talk about, well, Jesus, this. I said, but see, all of you all are so against that concept, but you don't even know that that's what he would have did. You set up tables for the homeless and feed the hungry and stuff like that. This is what we need to be doing. So if they are not doing that, some sort of service to the community, like giving something to the community without being afraid, without being scared, then that is the more positive aspect, or that you should look at if you ever want to join some sort of organization, because that's really what it is. It's just, or it is a government organization, and it was put together very well, because not only do they have rights, or some people say it's a government inside of a government, which basically it is, because they have their own laws and everything, kind of like a sorority, kind of like a fraternity, kind of like the Masons or the Easter Stars. But at least the Masons, and you see the Masons out here doing community service and stuff like that, instead of trying to get people to join, to get members so you can get money. That is, to me, that's rape, and that's stealing. But yeah, from on the more positive note, definitely look for, or any organization that you join, are they giving back to the community? Especially an organization that's more so of a political, more so aiming towards politics. Yeah, community service and good vibes. People
Definitely.
speaking to you.
Good vibes is a necessity.
Yeah, people speaking to you, people talking to you, people knowing how to express themselves in a intellectual way, and stuff like that. Because this world got a problem with trust. And so trusting people is hard for a lot of people, especially if they go into something like an organization or something like that. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, thanks for coming on and talking about this. I know I learned a ton just talking to you.
Thank you, Liz. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for inviting me. I know I can keep talking, but thank you.
I just got one quick question. Are you still tax exempt?
The only thing that I did.
Oh, you should have quit it if you ain't get the tax exempt.
but see, this is what I'm saying. That's the level. That's how I knew it was a code, because you're telling me that I have these rights, but you want to dangle these rights over my head and give me a little bit, but you don't want to tell me how to really do it. That's a cult to me. That's control, and that's what cults do. They have to control your every move. You have to report it back to them. You have to let them know what you're doing, and that's how it was. The only thing that I did, that I was about to do, was my name change. That's about it. I never got the tax exempt form. I never did that. And you don't even have to be a Moor to do that. You know,
What's
you could
that you
just.
say? Taking notes. Tax exempt. Got it.
Right, because that's what I'm saying. Like, you are more by birth. Can't nobody take that away from you, and can't nobody give that to you. You already that, you know. And for somebody to make you feel like I'm giving you this birthright, excuse me, you know, nobody is to be held arbitrarily deprived of their nationality and birthright. That's a law. You can't give me my birthright. So yeah.
All
Well,
right.
that's awesome. I like it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so excited. I'm so glad y'all. Oh my God, this is wonderful. This is great. I
Dope.
appreciate this opportunity.
We
We
appreciate you.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering all my dumb questions.
No, they weren't dumb. They were actually pretty cool. I appreciate it. I like questions. So.
Awesome.
Dope.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a good evening.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We got new episodes dropping every single Wednesday. Please make sure you, if you can, take a moment and leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. We will read it off. And if you have already and we haven't gotten it through, we are looking for those every week. I have a feeling they're a little delayed because I know one person told me they wrote a review. It's not on there yet. So we will find them wherever they are, but definitely write those reviews. If you have any questions, send us an email. We're at windycitywomenpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Instagram now as well as Twitter. So we're at Windy Women.
We're also on Facebook.
Oh, that's right. We're also on Facebook. Facebook.com/
at Windy City Women Podcast.
Okay, so Facebook.com/ Windy City Women Podcast. Sweet. We're just conquering all the social medias, Kells.
Everywhere. And
also,
you're going to see Windy City Women.
WCW. Also, follow me and Kells personally. We put out a lot of really cool personal content. Kells the Comic. Will you spell that out for them, Kells?
KELLSTHAKOMIC. And it's also on my shirt.
Yeah, Kells the Comic. Oh, it's also on this awesome rolling tray. Check it out, y'all. Kells is so cool. Kells sent me this awesome early birthday present. It's a rolling tray. Hit up Kells on Insta, on all the social medias for your own rolling tray. I'm at Amanda Costner, just like Kevin Costner. Amanda Costner, COSTNER. And everybody stay safe. We'll be back next week.
Goodbye, beautiful people. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.